Let me start by saying I never expected my life to turn into such a complicated legal drama. I'm 45, a successful real estate developer, and I thought I'd finally put the messy chapters of my past behind me. Turns out, some people just can't let go. My divorce from Sarah happened 7 years ago. We were married for 12 years, and at the time, our split was relatively amicable. No kids, no major joint assets except our first home, which we sold and split the proceeds. I thought we had a clean break. 5 years after our divorce, I struck gold with a stunning villa project in an up-and-coming coastal region. It was my passion project, a beautiful Mediterranean-style property I designed and built from the ground up. I invested nearly all my savings and took significant risks. The local real estate market was tough, but I believed in this project. When the villa was completed, I was proud. It wasn't just a property. It was a testament to my hard work and vision. I'd personally selected every tile, designed the landscaping, and overseen every detail. The property was valued at $3.2 million, and I had several potential buyers interested. That's when Sarah reappeared. She showed up at my office one Tuesday morning, looking pristine in a tailored suit. Her lawyer was right behind her, carrying a thick manila folder. The moment she sat down, I knew something was wrong. "I want half the value of the villa," she stated flatly. I was stunned. "Excuse me." Her lawyer explained that since the villa was conceptualized during our marriage, she claimed partial ownership. They argued that my initial design sketches dated back to when we were still married. Therefore, she was entitled to half the property's value. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. We had been divorced for 7 years. Our settlement was clear and comprehensive. We had divided everything equally back then. How could she possibly think she had a claim now? My lawyer, Marcus, was equally bewildered. He reviewed our original divorce papers and found absolutely no grounds for her claim. But Sarah was persistent. She filed a lawsuit, claiming a portion of the villa's value. The legal battle began. Depositions, document reviews, expert testimonies. Our relatively simple dispute turned into a complex legal nightmare. Marcus estimated the legal fees would reach 6 figures if we went to trial. I was angry, frustrated, and honestly hurt. After everything we'd been through, after giving her a fair settlement, she was trying to squeeze more money out of me. It wasn't about the money for her. It was about control, about making me suffer. Little did I know, the courtroom drama that was about to unfold would be more dramatic than anything I could have imagined. The next 6 months were a blur of legal meetings, document reviews, and mounting stress. Marcus warned me that Sarah's legal strategy was aggressive. Her lawyer, a sharp-looking woman named Elena Rodriguez, was pulling out all the stops to prove Sarah had a stake in the villa. They dug deep into our marital history. Old design notebooks from when we were married became exhibit. Sarah claimed that because I had initial sketches for coastal development projects during our marriage, she was entitled to a substantial portion of my current success. It was a stretch, and we both knew it. Our first major hearing was in the county courthouse. I remember sitting there, watching Sarah construct an elaborate narrative. She painted herself as the supportive wife who had sacrificed her own career to support my early real estate dreams. In reality, she had worked as a marketing executive and contributed equally to our household income. Marcus methodically dismantled her claims. He presented our original divorce settlement, bank statements, and a comprehensive timeline showing that the villa project was entirely conceived and executed after our divorce. Our financial records were clean and transparent. But Sarah wasn't fighting fair. She brought up old wounds, trying to paint me as an opportunist who had somehow hidden assets during our divorce. It was a desperate move, and I could see the judge growing increasingly irritated with her tactics. The most painful moment came when Sarah's lawyer tried to introduce personal emails from our marriage as evidence. They were private communications about potential business ideas, the kind of casual brainstorming couples do. I felt violated seeing these intimate conversations dragged into a courtroom. My financial records told a different story. I had taken out a significant personal loan to fund the villa project. Every penny invested was money I had earned after our divorce. I had meticulously kept records, knowing that transparency was my best defense. During a particularly tense cross-examination, Marcus revealed something that made Sarah visibly uncomfortable. Not only had I not hidden any assets during our divorce, but I had actually been more generous than required by law. When we split, I had given her slightly more than the standard 50% split, believing it was the right thing to do. Sarah's facade began to crack. Her attempts to portray herself as a victim were falling apart. The judge's expression suggested she was seeing through the manipulation. What Sarah didn't know was that I had one more piece of evidence, something that would completely destroy her case. And I was saving it for the perfect moment. The legal battle was far from over, but for the first time, I felt confident. The truth was on my side. and no amount of legal maneuvering could change that. As we broke for lunch that day, I caught Sarah's eye. For a moment, she looked like the woman I had once loved, vulnerable, desperate. But then her lawyer whispered something, and that moment passed. The final hearing was nothing short of dramatic. Marcus had been strategically holding back our most powerful piece of evidence, a private investigator's report that completely undermined Sarah's entire case. During the weeks leading up to the final court date, I had hired a discreet PI to investigate Sarah's own business dealings. What we discovered was explosive. She had been involved in her own real estate venture during the same period. She was claiming I had somehow cheated her out of potential earnings. When Marcus presented the evidence, the courtroom went silent. The PI's report showed that Sarah had started a boutique real estate consulting firm 2 years after our divorce. Not only was she successful, but she had actually made significantly more money from her business than the entire value of my villa project. Her consulting firm had netted over $4.5 million in the past 3 years, working with tech startups and helping them develop corporate campuses. She wasn't some struggling ex-wife. She was a successful businesswoman who was trying to exploit our past relationship for additional financial gain. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her late 50s, looked increasingly irritated as the evidence mounted. Sarah's lawyer tried to object, but each objection was swiftly overruled. The documentation was clean, precise, and irrefutable. When the judge finally spoke, her words were cutting. She not only dismissed Sarah's claim entirely, but also suggested that the lawsuit was a frivolous attempt to harass me financially. The court recommended that Sarah's legal team consider the potential for sanctions for filing a baseless claim. I'll never forget the moment the judgment was read. Sarah's face went through multiple emotions: shock, anger, and finally, defeat. Tears welled up in her eyes, but these weren't tears of sympathy. They were tears of frustration and complete rejection. Her lawyer tried to maintain some dignity, but it was clear they had been comprehensively defeated. The judge's ruling was so definitive that any potential appeal would be laughable. After the hearing, Sarah approached me. For a moment, I saw a glimpse of the woman I had once loved, vulnerable and defeated. But I felt nothing. 7 years of peace had been disrupted by her greed, and I was done. I just wanted what was fair, she mumbled. Marcus, standing beside me, couldn't help but interject. What was fair was decided 7 years ago during your divorce. This was nothing more than an attempt to extort money. The courthouse hallway felt heavy with her defeat. As she walked away, I realized something important. Some people never truly move on. They're always looking for another angle, another opportunity to claim something that isn't theirs. My villa remained fully mine. More importantly, I had protected not just my property, but my peace of mind. As for Sarah, she learned an expensive lesson about the consequences of frivolous legal actions.